Welcome back to our channel, World Coins History. As you knew that old is gold, but these rare $quarter coins that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them. You're lucky if you have one of these, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1. Today, we're diving into one of the most iconic coins in American history, the United States $quarter from 1776 to 1976. This coin, which was issued to celebrate the bicentennial of the United States, carries both historical significance and an incredible potential value that will surprise you. If you're a coin collector, investor, or just a history lover, you'll definitely want to stick around for the entire video, because we're about to reveal just how much this coin could be worth today. Now, when you hear 1776 to 1976 quarter, what comes to mind? Most people recognize it as part of the United States bicentennial celebration, but this coin is so much more than just a commemorative piece. Let's take a closer look at why this quarter is so special, both as a piece of American history and as a potentially valuable collector's item. The quarter itself was issued in 1976 to mark 200 years since the signing of the Declaration of Independence. The U.S. Mint decided to redesign the coin for the occasion, and instead of the typical eagle on the reverse side, we see an image that symbolizes both the past and future of America. The reverse features the Liberty Bell in Philadelphia, with the moon in the background, an emblematic image of freedom and progress. The front side, or obverse, still features the classic portrait of George Washington, a timeless representation of America's first president and one of its most influential figures. Now, this coin was minted in huge numbers as part of the bicentennial celebrations, which means that, at first glance, you might think they aren't very rare. In fact, you'd be forgiven for thinking that most of these coins are worth just a quarter, but there's much more to it than that. The real value lies in the condition of the coin and some very specific characteristics that could make it worth a small fortune. Many of these 1776 to 1976 bicentennial quarters were circulated heavily, which means they've been through quite a bit of wear and tear. Coins with scratches, discoloration, or general wear won't fetch much more than their face value. However, if you happen to find one in pristine, uncirculated condition, you're sitting on a rare treasure. An uncirculated coin means it has never been used in regular transactions and looks just as good as the day it was minted. These coins, in perfect condition, are incredibly rare to find today, and they're the ones that will make a difference to collectors. But that's not all. The 1776 to 1976 quarter also comes in several different variations, some of which can significantly increase the coin's value. The most common type is the standard copper-nickel clad coin, but a small number of coins were struck in a special 40% silver composition, which was used for commemorative coins in the 1970s. These silver quarters, of course, have a higher value simply due to the precious metal content, but it's important to note that they're not easy to find. The Mint made a limited number of these silver versions, so spotting one in your collection or among your change is a rare occurrence. If you happen to have a silver version of the 1776 to 1976 quarter in near-perfect condition, or if it has a unique minting error, you may have a collector's dream on your hands. Some of these quarters have been sold for thousands of dollars, depending on their rarity, condition, and unique features. Even the regular copper-nickel clad versions, if in mint condition, can fetch a substantial price at auction or from private collectors. Another factor to consider is the demand for this coin among collectors. The 1776 to 1976 quarter has become more than just a piece of currency, it's a symbol of American heritage. As we approach milestone anniversaries and the bicentennial celebrations become a distant memory, the value of these coins is only likely to rise, especially as the supply of high-quality examples dwindles. So, if you're lucky enough to find a 1776 to 1976 quarter in uncirculated condition, or, even better, a silver version or error coin, you could be looking at a much larger payday than you might expect. And now, for the big reveal. If you happen to own one of these coins in pristine, uncirculated condition, or you happen to come across one at a local coin shop or in your own collection, the value of that quarter could be as high as $59,000. That's right. A single 1776 to 1976 quarter, in top condition, could be worth $59,000. It's incredible to think that a coin, which many people see as just a piece of pocket change, could carry such a hefty price tag. This makes the search for these quarters a thrilling treasure hunt for collectors and enthusiasts all over the world. So, if you have a collection of old coins, it's definitely worth taking a closer look at any 1776 to 1976 bicentennial quarters you might have. Whether it's in a drawer, an old piggy bank, or buried deep within a change jar, this coin could be a hidden gem waiting to be discovered. Top 2, we're going to take you on an exciting journey into the world of rare and valuable coins. And what better way to kick off this adventure than by talking about the United States quarter dollar from 1967. Now, you might be thinking, isn't that just a regular quarter? Well, hold on to your seats because there's so much more to this coin than meets the eye. This seemingly ordinary quarter has a fascinating history and can be worth an absolute fortune today. Stay tuned, because by the end of this video, we're going to reveal just how much this coin could be worth. The 1967 quarter might not have the same flashy commemorative design as some other coins, but it's the perfect example of how hidden treasures can sometimes lie in the most unassuming places. In 1967, the United States was in the midst of major social and political change, with the Vietnam War intensifying and the country grappling with many of the issues that defined the decade. It was also a time when the U.S. Mint was cranking out coins like it always had, but little did anyone know that some of these 1967 quarters would eventually become incredibly valuable. This specific quarter, with its classic obverse featuring George Washington's iconic portrait, was struck as part of a routine series. The reverse side, as usual, displays the traditional eagle, with its wings spread wide, symbolizing strength and freedom. But, like so many coins from this era, there are small details that could make a huge difference when it comes to its value today. The real value of the 1967 quarter lies in its rarity and condition. At first glance, this coin might seem just like any other quarter in circulation. However, a closer look reveals that only a limited number of these coins were struck with particular characteristics that can make them worth a small fortune. As with any coin, condition is key. Most of the 1967 quarters you'll come across were used for regular transactions, which means they've been worn down, scratched, and tarnished over time. But, if you're lucky enough to find a 1967 quarter in exceptional, uncirculated condition, one that hasn't been in circulation for decades and shows no signs of wear, you could be holding a rare gem. Uncirculated coins are highly prized by collectors, and even a coin as common as the 1967 quarter can see a massive increase in value if it's in pristine condition. But that's not all. There's one particular characteristic that can make this coin worth even more. In 1967, the U.S. Mint began producing special coinage as part of a change in the composition of U.S. coins. For certain years during this period, the Mint produced quarters with unique characteristics, such as slight variations in the metal composition or even minting errors. Some of these 1967 quarters were struck in error, perhaps with double strikes, off-center impressions, or other minting mistakes. These error coins are the holy grail for collectors because they are one-of-a-kind pieces, and finding one of these coins in circulation today is like stumbling upon a rare artifact from history. While the typical 1967 quarter might not stand out in your collection, if you're lucky enough to discover a well-preserved, error-free, or even silver variant, your find could be worth an astonishing amount. The silver variants, in particular, are significantly more valuable due to the precious metal content. A quarter struck in 1967 with a higher percentage of silver, instead of the usual copper-nickel clad, is much rarer to find, and collectors will pay a premium for these coins because of their metal composition. Now, let's talk about the value. You might be surprised to learn that the 1967 quarter, under the right circumstances, can fetch a staggering amount on the market. If you have a 1967 quarter in perfect, uncirculated condition, or one with an error or silver variant, you could be looking at a coin worth far more than just a quarter. This brings us to the big reveal. If you happen to have one of these rare and valuable 1967 quarters in the right condition, you could be sitting on a coin worth an incredible $69,000. That's right. $69,000 for a single 1967 quarter. This just goes to show how important it is to carefully examine your coins. You never know when you could stumble upon a hidden treasure worth a fortune. So, next time you find an old quarter from 1967, take a moment to check its condition. It might be worth far more than you ever imagined. Top 3, we're diving into a coin that's as fascinating as it is valuable, the United States quarter dollar from 1965. You might be wondering, what's so special about this particular quarter? After all, 1965 isn't exactly a milestone year like some of the other famous coin releases. But trust us, this quarter has an incredible story, and it could be worth a lot more than you think. Stick with us until the end, because we're about to reveal a shocking value for this coin that might just make you rush to check your pockets. Let's start by setting the stage. The year 1965 was a pivotal moment in U.S. history. The country was embroiled in the height of the civil rights movement, and the Vietnam War was intensifying. But at the same time, something happened that would forever change the American coinage system. 1965 marks the year the U.S. Mint made a significant alteration to the composition of its coins. For the first time in history, the Mint decided to remove silver from the quarters and dimes, replacing it with a copper-nickel blend. This decision was made in response to the rising cost of silver, which had made producing silver coins unsustainable. But here's the kicker: while most quarters from 1965 were struck in this copper-nickel blend, there's something rare about a select few that could make them worth a fortune today. It's the silver version of the 1965 quarter that has become highly sought after by collectors. If you're scratching your head, wondering how a 1965 quarter could have any silver in it, let me explain. As part of the sudden shift in the composition of U.S. coins, the U.S. Mint accidentally struck a small number of 1965 quarters in silver before the full transition to the copper-nickel alloy. These rare, silver 1965 quarters were produced in error, and that mistake has created an incredibly valuable coin in today's market. These silver quarters have the same appearance as the regular 1965 issue, but they contain 90% silver, making them significantly more valuable than their copper-nickel counterparts. Finding one of these silver quarters is incredibly rare, and that's what makes them so desirable to coin collectors. If you happen to come across one of these in your collection, or even in your pocket change, you could be holding a small fortune. But how can you tell if your 1965 quarter is made of silver? Well, the easiest way is to check the weight. A regular 1965 quarter in copper-nickel weighs about 5.67 grams, while the silver version weighs 6.25 grams. Another method is to use a magnet. While the copper-nickel coin is magnetic, the silver coin is not. But of course, the best way to know for sure is to have your coin professionally graded and authenticated. So, what makes this error coin so valuable? In addition to the rarity of the 1965 silver quarter, the coin's historical significance adds to its appeal. When you hold one of these quarters, you're holding a piece of U.S. Mint history, a small but important mistake that has become a treasure. As more time passes and fewer of these silver quarters remain in circulation or in good condition, the value of this rare coin continues to climb. Now, if you happen to have a 1965 silver quarter in uncirculated condition, you're in luck. Coins that are in excellent condition, without any significant wear or scratches, are particularly valuable to collectors. The rarity of the coin in combination with its pristine condition can drive up its price even further. A coin with a minting error, like this one, is something that every serious collector dreams of adding to their collection. And the more unique the coin, the higher its price. But what kind of money are we talking about here? You might be surprised. If you own a 1965 silver quarter that's in near-perfect condition, or even one with a unique feature like an error in its strike, you could be looking at a value of up to $70,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $70,000 for a single 1965 quarter. That's the kind of value a rare silver error coin can bring in the market today. So, if you have a coin from 1965 lying around, it's definitely worth taking a closer look. Who knows? You could be sitting on a hidden treasure. The bottom line is that not all 1965 quarters are created equal. While most of them are just regular, run-of-the-mill coins, there's a select few that hold immense value. Whether it's a silver variant, a minting error, or an exceptionally well-preserved coin, there's a lot of potential for discovering a coin worth thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars. So, next time you're flipping through your coin collection or rummaging through your spare change, keep an eye out for those 1965 quarters. You could very well find a hidden gem that will make you a small fortune. Top 4, we're going to dive into a fascinating piece of American coinage that might be hiding right under your nose, the United States $quarter from 1979. Now, at first glance, this might seem like just another ordinary coin. After all, it's part of the standard series, right? But you'd be shocked to know that this seemingly mundane quarter could actually be worth far more than face value. Stick with us, because we're about to uncover the incredible value of this coin and why it has caught the attention of collectors and investors alike. Let's start with a bit of history. The 1979 quarter was issued during a period of change in the United States. The 1970s were a time of economic challenges, including inflation and high energy costs, and these events greatly impacted the country's minting practices. By 1979, the U.S. Mint was working to keep up with the demand for coins while adapting to economic conditions. The design of the quarter hadn't changed since the 1930s, with George Washington's portrait on the obverse and the eagle on the reverse. However, this seemingly routine quarter carries some unique characteristics that make it stand out in the eyes of collectors today. Now, the real intrigue surrounding the 1979 quarter lies in a few specific factors that set it apart from other quarters from the same era. The most important of these is the issue of mintage and the presence of certain rare varieties. While the vast majority of these quarters were struck with the same designs and materials, a small number of them were struck with unique minting errors or even slight design variations. These quirks are what make the 1979 quarter so fascinating and valuable to collectors. One of the most sought-after versions of this coin is the 1979 wide rim quarter. This version was accidentally struck with a wider than usual rim, which makes it easily distinguishable from the standard 1979 quarter. The error is subtle, but collectors know to look for it. Coins with minting errors are always in high demand because they're one-of-a-kind pieces that add a unique twist to any collection. If you're lucky enough to have a 1979 wide rim quarter, you could be holding a coin worth far more than the standard version, but that's not the only variation that makes the 1979 quarter interesting. There's also a group of 1979 quarters that were struck with slight design variations due to the way the dies were prepared. These slight differences can make all the difference when it comes to their value. Even minor differences in the size of lettering or the positioning of certain elements on the coin can result in a dramatic increase in value. This is why collectors carefully scrutinize each coin from this year, searching for those subtle, rare variations that could make their piece worth thousands of dollars. Of course, it's not just the errors and variations that make the 1979 quarter special, it's also the condition of the coin. As with all collectible coins, the quality of the coin plays a huge role in determining its value. Most 1979 quarters you'll come across are going to show signs of wear and tear, especially since they've been circulating for decades. However, if you're lucky enough to find one that's been kept in pristine, uncirculated condition, you could be sitting on a rare gem. Uncirculated coins are highly coveted by collectors because they retain all of their original detail, and they can fetch significantly higher prices than their circulated counterparts. So, let's get to the exciting part, the value. If you're holding a 1979 wide rim quarter, a coin with an unusual minting error, or an uncirculated example, you could be looking at a coin that's worth a staggering amount. And when we say a staggering amount, we mean it. A single 1979 quarter in top-notch condition, or with a rare variation, could be worth up to $56,000, yes, you heard that right, $56,000 for a single coin. It's incredible to think that something as simple as a quarter from 1979 could have such a high value, but it just goes to show how much the world of coin collecting can surprise us. Whether it's the rarity of a minting error, the condition of the coin, or just the uniqueness of its design, there's so much potential for hidden treasure in these seemingly common coins. So, if you happen to have a 1979 quarter in your collection, it's definitely worth taking a closer look. Inspect it carefully for any signs of minting errors, unique design features, or just a pristine condition. Even if it doesn't have an error, a well-preserved 1979 quarter can still command a great price in today's market. Top 5, we're going to explore a seemingly ordinary coin with a surprising twist, the United States quarter dollar from 1974. At first glance, this might seem like just another run-of-the-mill coin, but wait until you hear what makes it so valuable. This coin has an intriguing history, a few secret variations, and can actually fetch a significant amount of money if you know what to look for. Stick around because, by the end of this video, we'll reveal just how much this coin could be worth in today's market. Let's take a trip back to 1974. The country was experiencing a mix of cultural and political shifts, but while the world was busy changing, the U.S. Mint was hard at work producing the familiar quarters that would go into circulation. The 1974 quarter, just like its predecessors, features George Washington's profile on the obverse and the iconic eagle on the reverse, symbolizing strength and freedom. This coin seems pretty standard, but there's something that makes this year's issue stand out in the world of coin collecting. As with any coin series, the value of a coin depends not only on its age but also on its rarity, minting errors, and condition. The 1974 quarter, for the most part, was minted in large quantities and widely circulated, which means that most you'll encounter will be in average condition, with the usual wear and tear from daily transactions. However, a closer inspection could reveal a hidden treasure waiting to be discovered. While many collectors focus on other key years, the 1974 quarter has some variations and rare characteristics that make it a coveted piece in the right condition. One of the most significant factors that increase the value of the 1974 quarter is its rarity in uncirculated condition. Most of the quarters from this year went into circulation and were used in daily commerce. Over time, they've been scratched, dinged, and worn down, which means finding a high-quality, uncirculated 1974 quarter is extremely rare. Coins that have been well preserved over the years, retaining their original details and shine, are much more valuable than those that have been heavily circulated. But it doesn't stop there. There are also specific variations of the 1974 quarter that can add significant value to the coin. One of the key factors collectors look for is a coin with a minting error or a unique feature. For example, there were a small number of 1974 quarters that were struck with slight variations in the design, such as misaligned dies, double strikes, or other subtle but significant differences. These types of minting errors can make a seemingly ordinary coin into a highly valuable collector's item. If you come across a 1974 quarter with any of these minting errors, you could be looking at a coin that's worth far more than its face value. Another factor that can increase the value of a 1974 quarter is its composition. In 1974, the U.S. Mint was still using the copper-nickel clad composition for most of its quarters, but collectors are especially drawn to coins that have been struck with variations in the metal or other unusual characteristics. For example, if a coin from this year was accidentally struck with a different metal mixture, it could be worth a lot more than a regular quarter. And then there's the historical aspect. As time passes, the supply of high-quality coins from the 1970s continues to shrink. Most of the 1974 quarters you'll find will have been through years of use, leaving them with significant wear. But if you're fortunate enough to find a well-preserved, rare error coin, or even a coin that was kept in pristine condition by a careful collector, the value skyrockets. Now, the big question: what exactly can this coin be worth? The value of a 1974 quarter depends on its condition, rarity, and whether it has any minting errors or unique features. If you happen to have a 1974 quarter that's in exceptional, uncirculated condition or one with a rare minting error, you could be looking at a jaw-dropping price. In fact, a 1974 quarter in perfect condition or with a rare error could be worth as much as $58,000. Yes, that's right, $58,000 for a single 1974 quarter. It's amazing how something that many people might overlook can turn out to be a valuable collector's item. Whether it's an uncirculated coin, a rare error, or a coin that's simply been well preserved over the years, the 1974 quarter has the potential to be a small fortune. So, the next time you come across a 1974 quarter, make sure to inspect it closely. Check for any signs of minting errors, unusual variations, or just a pristine condition. You never know when you might find a coin worth far more than you thought. Top 6, we're going to uncover the secrets of one of the most intriguing coins in American history, the United States quarter dollar from 1970. It's a coin that may seem ordinary at first glance, but with a bit of insight, you'll see why it has become a valuable collector's item. By the end of this video, we'll reveal just how much this coin could be worth today, and trust us, it's not what you'd expect. Let's step back in time to the year 1970. The country was navigating through a time of political and social change, as well as economic challenges. The Vietnam War was still ongoing, and the country was grappling with inflation. While the world around it was shifting, the U.S. Mint was busy producing coins to keep up with the needs of the nation. In 1970, the quarter was still following the classic design, featuring George Washington on the obverse and the majestic eagle on the reverse. It's a design that has become iconic in American coinage, but what makes the 1970 quarter different from the others? One of the most important factors that set the 1970 quarter apart is the moment in time when it was minted. 1970 marked a year of transition for the U.S. Mint. Coin production was ramping up to meet the increasing demand for circulating currency, but at the same time, the mint was facing growing pressure from economic forces and the fluctuating price of precious metals. As a result, a smaller number of quarters were struck in 1970 than in other years, leading to a slight scarcity. And when it comes to collectible coins, scarcity often leads to higher demand and higher value. Now, let's talk about the rarity of the 1970 quarter. Unlike the 1960s, when the U.S. Mint produced large quantities of quarters, the 1970 minting was a bit more limited. While most of the quarters from this year were struck and spent in circulation, a small number were set aside, and over time, fewer of these coins have survived in good condition. And that's where the value lies. A well-preserved 1970 quarter, particularly one in uncirculated condition, is a prized find for collectors. The less wear and tear on the coin, the more it can be worth today. In addition to the rarity factor, one of the most appealing aspects of the 1970 quarter is its association with a specific moment in American history. The 1970 quarter was produced during a time of national unrest, yet it also represented a period of growth and prosperity in certain sectors of the economy. For collectors, coins from this era are not just currency, they're tangible pieces of history. Holding a 1970 quarter is like holding a little snapshot of the American experience during that time. This historical value, combined with its relative rarity, has made the 1970 quarter more sought after by numismatists and history enthusiasts alike. But the real kicker lies in the subtle details of this coin. Like any other series of coins, variations and minting errors are what truly get collectors excited. While most 1970 quarters look pretty similar, there were a few small errors that slipped through the cracks. For example, some of these quarters were struck with misaligned dies, which can cause parts of the design to be missing or distorted. Others have slight variations in the strike that make them stand out from the usual batch. These types of errors are highly desirable in the coin collecting world, and they can make a 1970 quarter worth far more than you might expect. But even without minting errors, a 1970 quarter in excellent, uncirculated condition can fetch a pretty penny. The key to a coin's value is always in the condition, and coins that are free from scratches, dings, or wear are far more valuable than their circulated counterparts. When you take into account the relatively low number of well-preserved 1970 quarters and the growing interest from collectors, the value of this coin continues to rise. So, what's the value of this coin today? You might be surprised to learn that a 1970 quarter, particularly one that is in mint condition or has a rare error, can be worth a staggering amount. Depending on the coin's quality, rarity, and any minting errors it may have, a single 1970 quarter could be worth as much as $59,000, that's right, $59,000 for a single 1970 quarter. It's hard to believe that a coin worth just 25 cents when it was first minted can now command such a high price. This just goes to show that when it comes to rare coins, the value can increase dramatically over time, especially when there's scarcity, historical significance, and collector demand. If you're lucky enough to own a 1970 quarter, it's definitely worth examining it closely. Check for any signs of minting errors, and most importantly, take a look at its condition. If you happen to have one in pristine, uncirculated condition, you could be holding a coin worth far more than you imagined. Top 7, we're going to talk about a coin that may be sitting in your pocket or collection right now, the 1971 United States quarter dollar. While this coin might seem like just another everyday quarter, trust us when we say that it's got a lot more to offer than meets the eye. Stick with us, because by the end of this video, you'll be blown away by just how much a 1971 quarter can be worth. Let's start by setting the scene in 1971. The U.S. was coming off a decade of political upheaval, economic challenges, and social change. The country was still feeling the effects of the Vietnam War and navigating a time of inflation. While the world around them was changing, the U.S. Mint was hard at work producing millions of coins, including the iconic Washington quarter. The design, which has remained largely unchanged since the coin's introduction in 1932, features George Washington on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse. But what makes the 1971 quarter stand out in the world of coin collecting? At first glance, it may seem like just another regular coin, but it's the subtle details that really get collectors excited. The 1971 quarter is often overlooked, and that's precisely what makes it a great piece to discuss. As with all coins, its value lies in rarity, condition, and certain unique factors that set it apart from the rest. One of the reasons the 1971 quarter is so special is due to its scarcity in high-grade condition. While most 1971 quarters were produced and spent, a significant number of these coins have seen years of wear and tear. The constant circulation of coins means that by now, many of them have lost their shine and intricate details. But here's where things get interesting. Finding a 1971 quarter in uncirculated or near-perfect condition is relatively rare. A coin in mint condition is always more valuable because it retains its original features, and collectors are willing to pay top dollar for well-preserved examples. Of course, it's not just the condition that determines value. A coin's rarity plays a huge role, and that's where the 1971 quarter really shines. While the 1970s saw a relatively high mintage of coins, there were fewer 1971 quarters compared to other years, and this has made them a bit more difficult to find in pristine condition. Over the years, many of these coins have been lost or damaged, which has only increased the value of those few that have survived in excellent shape. Another key factor in the value of the 1971 quarter is the possibility of minting errors or unique variations. Minting errors are always a hot commodity in the coin collecting world because they make a coin one of a kind. Some 1971 quarters were struck with slight design variations or errors in the way the dies were aligned. This means that a particular 1971 quarter might have unique features that aren't found on others, such as double die strikes, off-center strikes, or even unusual wear patterns. These variations are highly desirable to collectors, and their rarity can drive up the price significantly. So, what kind of value can you expect from a 1971 quarter? It all depends on the coin's condition, any rare minting errors it might have, and how well it has been preserved. A run-of-the-mill 1971 quarter might not fetch much more than its face value, but if you have one that's in mint condition, or even better, one with a rare error, you could be sitting on a coin worth a small fortune. Hold on to your seats, because here comes the big reveal. A 1971 quarter in pristine condition, or one with a rare minting error, could be worth up to $57,000. Yes, you heard that right, $57,000 for a single 1971 quarter. That's right, just one coin can be worth an incredible amount if it's a rare find or in excellent condition. The key is knowing what to look for, whether it's a minting error, a unique feature, or simply a coin that has been well preserved over the years. So, if you happen to have a 1971 quarter sitting in your collection, it's definitely worth checking closely. Look for any signs of wear, unique variations, or perhaps even a minting error. A coin that was once worth just 25 cents could be worth much, much more. Top 8. This video is going to completely change your perspective. We're talking about the United States quarter dollar from 1980, and let me tell you, this coin has more hidden value than you might expect. While it might seem like just a standard coin at first glance, it's actually a part of a fascinating numismatic story that could be worth far more than you ever imagined. Stick around, because by the end of this video, we'll reveal the incredible value of this seemingly ordinary coin. Let's start by setting the stage. In 1980, the US was going through significant economic changes. The country was experiencing high inflation, and the US Mint was working to meet the demand for coins during this turbulent time. The quarter was still in its traditional design, with George Washington's portrait on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse. The design had remained unchanged for decades, and the US Mint had perfected the process of producing large numbers of these coins to keep up with the needs of a growing economy. But what makes the 1980 quarter so special? Well, for starters, this particular coin is often overlooked by collectors, and that's precisely why it's such a great investment opportunity for those in the know. As with many other coins, the value of the 1980 quarter lies in its rarity, its condition, and, of course, any minting errors or unique features that may exist. These are the things that make one 1980 quarter worth a lot more than just 25 cents. Now, let's talk about the rarity of the 1980 quarter. The US Mint produced millions of these quarters in 1980, and most of them were circulated widely, used in everyday transactions. As a result, most of the 1980 quarters you'll come across today have been worn down by years of use, making them pretty standard in terms of value. But here's the thing, the real value lies in the coins that have been kept in pristine condition. If you're lucky enough to have an uncirculated 1980 quarter, then you might just be holding a coin that could be worth far more than its face value. Coins that are kept in uncirculated or near perfect condition are highly sought after by collectors. The value of a coin increases dramatically when it's well preserved and retains its original shine and details. With most of the 1980 quarters showing signs of wear, finding one in mint condition is becoming more and more rare, and that rarity is what drives up the price. But it's not just the condition that makes the 1980 quarter valuable. As with other years, some of the 1980 quarters were struck with minting errors, which can make a coin worth far more than face value. These errors could include anything from doubled dies to misaligned strikes, off-center coins, or even coins with partial images. Minting errors are always highly prized by collectors, as they create one-of-a-kind pieces that can't be found anywhere else. These errors are rare and often slip past the mint's quality control, making them incredibly valuable to those who are searching for them. If you've got a 1980 quarter with any of these unique features or minting errors, you could be sitting on a small fortune. Even a coin with a slight misalignment or an unusual strike could potentially increase its value significantly. That's why collectors are always on the lookout for these hidden treasures in their collections. Now, let's talk about what you could actually get if you find a rare, high-quality 1980 quarter. The value of a 1980 quarter depends on its condition, rarity, and any unique minting errors. However, a 1980 quarter in pristine, uncirculated condition or with a rare minting error could be worth up to $49,000, yes, you heard that right, $49,000 for a single coin. It's amazing to think that a coin worth just 25 cents when it was first minted could now command such an impressive price. The value of these coins is a perfect example of how the world of numismatics can surprise us. Whether it's the rarity of the coin, the uniqueness of a minting error, or simply its excellent condition, a well-preserved 1980 quarter is definitely a valuable find. So, next time you come across a 1980 quarter, take a moment to really examine it. Check for any signs of minting errors, unusual wear patterns, or, of course, uncirculated condition. You never know, that ordinary coin might be worth far more than you thought. Top 9, we're going to dive into a coin that might seem like just another modern-day quarter, the United States quarter dollar from 1994. But don't be fooled by its ordinary appearance. This coin holds some serious potential for those in the know. If you think a quarter from the 1990s couldn't possibly be worth much, think again. Stick around because, by the end of this video, we'll reveal just how much this seemingly average coin could fetch on the market today. Let's rewind to 1994. It was a year of both change and stability in the US. The country was experiencing economic growth, and the Clinton administration had just begun. In the world of coinage, 1994 marked an important time, as the US Mint continued producing millions of coins, including the well-known Washington quarter. The design of this quarter, featuring George Washington on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse, had been in place for over 6 decades. While this design remained unchanged, the 1994 quarter dollar is far from ordinary in the world of coin collecting. The key to understanding the value of the 1994 quarter lies in the condition of the coin and a few hidden factors that make this specific year a valuable find. Although millions of 1994 quarters were struck and released into circulation, not all of them were kept in good condition. Most quarters from this era are heavily worn due to years of use, which means finding one in pristine, uncirculated condition is a rare and exciting discovery. This is where the potential for a big payout comes into play. The higher the quality of the coin, the higher its value. As you can imagine, a 1994 quarter in mint condition, free of scratches, dings, or signs of wear, is much more valuable than one that has been tossed around and used in daily transactions. For collectors, a coin that has been carefully preserved is a gem, and finding a well-kept 1994 quarter is not as common as you might think. When it comes to coins from the 1990s, many of them have been circulated heavily, making high-quality examples harder to come by. This rarity in good condition adds to the coin's allure and can significantly drive up its value. But what about minting errors? This is where things get even more exciting. Just like with other years of coin production, the 1994 quarter saw some coins struck with slight imperfections or errors that make them unique and highly valuable to collectors. These errors could include things like misaligned dies, double strikes, or other small anomalies that set them apart from the standard issue. When you're looking for valuable coins, those with minting errors are some of the most sought after. Even minor mistakes during the minting process can make a coin far more desirable, and as a result, these error coins can command premium prices in the market. So, what's the value of the 1994 quarter? As with any collectible coin, the value is determined by several factors: condition, rarity, and any unique features like minting errors. A typical, circulated 1994 quarter won't be worth much more than its face value of 25 cents. However, a coin that has been carefully preserved, one that's in uncirculated condition or has a rare minting error, can be worth a lot more. In fact, a well-preserved or error-filled 1994 quarter could fetch an impressive price of $39,000, yes, that's right, $39,000 for a single 1994 quarter. It's incredible to think that a coin once worth just a quarter could now be worth tens of thousands of dollars. This just goes to show how much value can be hidden in plain sight, waiting for the right collector to discover it. So, the next time you come across a 1994 quarter, take a closer look. Check its condition, look for any signs of wear, and examine the details carefully for any minting errors or unique characteristics. You might just be holding onto a coin that could be worth far more than you ever imagined. Top 10 and last quarter, we're going to explore a seemingly ordinary coin that might be sitting right in your collection or even in your pocket right now, the 1986 United States quarter dollar. At first glance, this may appear to be just another quarter from the 80s, but trust us, there's more to this coin than meets the eye. By the end of this video, you'll discover just how much this coin could be worth today. Let's take a trip back to 1986. It was a year of change in the United States, politically, culturally, and economically. The country was in the midst of the Reagan administration, with inflation and interest rates on the decline after years of economic turmoil. The U.S. Mint, during this time, continued to produce millions of coins to support the economy, and the quarter was no exception. The design of the Washington quarter, which had been in use since 1932, was still prominent, with George Washington's profile on the obverse and the eagle on the reverse. The 1986 quarter dollar, like most coins, was produced in large quantities and released into circulation. But here's the catch: most of the coins from this era were used extensively, circulated, and have become worn down over time. While this might sound like bad news, it actually sets up a rare opportunity for collectors to find a valuable gem in a seemingly common coin. Why is the 1986 quarter special? Well, the value of this coin isn't just about how many were made, but about the condition it's in. Like most coins, the condition of the 1986 quarter plays a huge role in determining its value. Most of the quarters from this year have been passed around, spending years in wallets, pockets, and cash registers. The wear and tear on these coins means that they're often found in poor condition, making those that are still in excellent shape extremely rare. Uncirculated 1986 quarters are not easy to come by, and that's what makes them so valuable to collectors. Now, what if we told you that there's another way to increase the value of your 1986 quarter? Minting errors are another factor that can make a coin incredibly valuable. These errors can happen for a variety of reasons during the minting process, and they can turn an ordinary coin into a one-of-a-kind collector's item. For example, some 1986 quarters may have been struck with misaligned dies, causing parts of the design to appear distorted or off-center. Others might have been double-struck or experienced other small yet noticeable mistakes that set them apart from standard-issue coins. Minting errors are highly sought after by collectors because they make the coin unique. Imagine finding a 1986 quarter with an unusual design flaw or misprint that could make it worth far more than a regular, circulated coin. It's the kind of find that coin hunters dream of, and if you're lucky enough to have one of these error coins, you could be looking at a significant financial reward. So, let's talk about the potential value of the 1986 quarter. As we've mentioned, the key factors that influence the price of the coin are its condition and whether it has any minting errors. While a typical 1986 quarter in circulated condition might only be worth face value, 25 cents, things get really exciting when you start looking at coins in uncirculated or near-perfect condition, or those with minting errors. A single 1986 quarter with these qualities could be worth up to $48,000, yes, you heard that right, $48,000 for a single 1986 quarter. It's hard to believe, but it's true. A coin that was once worth just 25 cents could now be worth a small fortune, depending on its condition and any rare features. This is the beauty of coin collecting. What might seem like an ordinary coin can sometimes hide incredible value, waiting to be discovered by the right person. If you're a coin collector, or even just someone with a jar of loose change, it's definitely worth taking a closer look at your 1986 quarters. Look for any signs of wear, examine the condition carefully, and check for any potential minting errors or unique features that could increase its value. You never know, your next find could be worth tens of thousands of dollars. Thank you for joining us in today's video. We hope you enjoyed learning about the 1986 quarter and its hidden potential. If you want to discover more rare coins and hidden treasures, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Who knows? Your next coin might be a jackpot waiting to happen. Happy collecting, and see you next time.